Hey guys, this week I thought I would vlog all of the bookish things I do throughout the week. So I'm going book shopping and I'm making a TBR list. I have work right now, but I'm going to go book shopping after work, so I hope I find some of the books that I'm looking for. I'm at Picked Up Here now looking at books. They have Once Upon a Broken Heart, which my cousin and friend have been telling me to read, so I'm going to grab that. I'm trying to find Throttled by Lauren Asher, but I don't think they have it here. They have that one, but maybe they do. They only have Collide. I'm in QBD Books now. Never read this book, but I keep seeing it everywhere and it's becoming a TV show or movie. This series is on my TBR list for next year. I've never read any Elsie Silver books. I really want this book. Hey guys, it's the next day. I just got back from work. I'm just crocheting a new project, but I'll show you guys what books I got. So as you saw, I got Once Upon a Broken Heart. I'm really excited to start this because my friend and cousins have been telling me how good it is, so I might like do a reading vlog, but I want to start this in December because I have like so many books that I'm reading at the moment. And I also got The Things We Never Got Over. I think this is a series, but I'm really excited to read this. I don't really know what it's about, so I want to go into it blind. I finished the play a few days ago. I got that on Audible, so it was an audiobook, and I thought it was a fun read, and it just reminded me of how much I love the off-campus Briar U universe. I'm also currently reading The Housemaid is Watching, which is the third book of the Housemaid series, I guess that's what it's called. But I'm finding that book really boring. Like, normally with Freida McFadden's thriller books I'm like speeding through it, but I'm just finding it really boring. Like, this is the third book reading about the same character and it's just boring me out, and it's quite a thick book as well, so I don't know, I kind of want to DNF it, but I also just want to finish it. I'm like about 25% into it. I'm also reading Nothing Like the Movies, but I stopped reading it because honestly it was making me really sad. Like, I feel like they went through so much trouble in the first book to be together and now they're broken up. Like, I know it's like realistic, like they moved to college and like he went through so much stuff, but I just want to pretend that they're living in a happy universe and that this book doesn't exist. I know they do get a happy ending, but I don't know if I want to read it. I just don't want it to ruin Better Than the Movies for me, because that's my favorite book. Basically the two books that I'm currently reading I don't really like, and I want to DNF both of them. Guys, I just got a massage and I swear to God I was transported into another universe because I'm so relaxed and zen now. But I'm in Target and I'm looking at books. I'm just doing some journaling while watching some YouTube now.
I'm like running late. Okay. This makes it so easy to find out like this.
I'm currently doing a journal spread called Books That I've Rated 5 Stars, and I was just looking through my Goodreads, and a lot of the books that I've rated 5 stars I actually wouldn't give it 5 stars now, and it's so funny looking back at it. So obviously my reading taste has changed a lot. I think I started properly reading in like year 12, which was like 2022. That was when I started like consistently reading, and I was just I used to have this Notion spread where I like rated all my books, and it's just so funny looking back on it now because like when I rate books 5 stars, I don't rate it because it's like the best piece of literature. I rate it based on how it makes me feel in the moment. Like, if I read a book in like one sitting or like really quick, I immediately give it 5 stars. Even if it's not that good, I'll just give it 5 stars. In 2022 I was like on my audiobook grind. Like, I literally finished audiobooks in like a day or two, and I was speeding through all these series because I was listening to audiobooks on like 0.75 speed, which is also the perfect speed to listen to audiobooks, by the way. Like, if anyone, I swear no one listens to audiobooks on like 1 speed. It's so slow. I don't know how people do it. Okay, I'm gonna turn this into a books that I rated 5 stars, and if I think I still rate them 5 stars. Okay, some of these books are just so funny. First off, Inheritance Games and Hawthorne Legacy, I gave 5 stars. I read it in May of 2022 and I definitely still give them 5 stars because I love that series so much. Every time like someone asks for a book recommendation, like people that don't normally read, I always say Inheritance Games. It's like a YA book, but it still has, it's not that much romance. I wish there was more, but there's still that sub-romance plot and it's a lot of mystery, so it's really fun to read. I would definitely still give both of those a 5 stars. I didn't like the third book, but the first 2 definitely 5 stars. Okay, so in June 2022, I was also on like my mafia grind and I read all of Cora Riley's books. I forgot what it's called, like the Born in Blood series I think, but I gave, what's it called, I didn't even write the name, not Bound by Honor, I gave like Luca's version of it. I think it was just called Luca, but I gave that a 5 stars. I don't know if I would still give it a 5 stars now, but I liked his point of view a lot better than Arya's, and I feel like that kind of introduced me into the whole series, so I gave it a 5 stars because I ate that up. What else? Yeah, that was like the only good book or like one of my favorites in the series. The rest were just like 3.5s or 4 stars. The Deal I read in August 2022, that is a 5 stars. I probably still would give it a 5 stars, even though if I read it back now I'm probably going to cringe at everything, but it was just such a good book and I love the off-campus Briar universe so much. I also give The Score 5 stars. I don't think I would give it 5 stars now, but Dean was my favorite. Dean and Garrett were my favorite. And I also loved Ali as well. I think that's why I gave it 5 stars. Then I read Better Than the Movies in October 2022, 5 stars. Definitely still give it 5 stars now. I'm yet to finish Nothing Like the Movies, but I'm dreading reading it and I can already tell it's not going to be as good. In November 2022, Cora Riley's universe, this is like the 2nd generation, so like it was, what's her name, Greta and Amo's book By Fate I Conquer. I gave it 5 stars. I remember like so clearly the day that book, I think it got leaked and then she had to release it early. Then some girl sent me like a PDF version of it and I read it in like one sitting because it was so good. I gave it a 5 stars, but honestly like it's not really a 5 stars. I only gave it a 5 stars because I feel like the first generation kind of set it up and I love all the characters in the first generation. I remember when the tropes got announced and it was like forbidden romance, like they were like enemies. It was like Romeo and Juliet basically. Then in December 2022 I read Finding and Keeping 13 and I gave Keeping 13 a 5 stars. That book is forever my favorite. I think it's like my #1 book and I love it so much. Even though it was 900 pages, it was so worth it. Then I read Saving 6 August 2023 when it came out and I gave it a 5 stars. And Redeeming 6, I gave that a 5 stars as well. Wait, I'm gonna go look at my book journal because I don't think I wrote everything in my Notion. I also need to update my Goodreads as well because I feel like all my books aren't on there. Let's see. Oh, in 2022 I gave Verity 5 stars too. That was my first thriller book. My cousin actually read it and she said it was really good, so I read it, I think. Or like and all my cousins ended up reading it and it was so good. It was so scary, but I loved it. Oh yeah, If He Had Been With Me I read in 2023 and I gave that a 5 stars as well. I love that book so much. It's forever one of my favorite books. I was literally crying every second. I also gave Terms and Conditions a 5 stars. I remember my cousin recommended me this series. The fine print I liked, but Terms and Conditions I literally ate up. I read it in like 3 days. I stayed up so late reading it. It was really good. Don't know if I would still give it a 5 stars now, but at the time that was like my favorite book ever and it was like good tropes. It was really easy to read as well. I don't know, if I would still give it a 5 stars, maybe I would. But I also never read the third book of the series, which is, I don't even know what it's called. Wait, what is it called? I have it somewhere here. Terms and conditions. The Final Offer, that's what it's called. I want to see what books I gave 5 stars this year. I gave The Housemaid's Secret a 5 stars because, again, I ate that book up and it was so good and it got me out of a reading slump, and I would still give it a 5 stars. I also gave The Inmate a 5 stars because that got me out of a reading slump as well. That was a really good book and it really kept me on my toes, but I feel like the ending, there was like almost like too many plot twists that it kind of confused me, but it was still a really good book and I would still give it a 5 stars. This is my book journal, by the way. Maybe I'll flick through it and show you guys what I do. But yeah, I need to update my Goodreads and this Notion spread. So I'm going to start Once Upon a Broken Heart now. I really don't know what to expect because when books are so popular on TikTok, I kind of have high expectations. And I also really hate reading third person, and a lot of fantasy books are third person, but I'm excited to give this one a go because everyone raves on about it and says how good it is. I don't think I will end up finishing this book by the end of the year just because I'm a slow reader and I'm really busy. So I'll see how I go. Okay, I'm like 50 pages into this and I can already tell that I'm going to love Jax. I'm up to chapter 9 and Scarlett and Donatella just made an appearance, and Scarlett's like the queen now and Donatella's like a princess. I love reading series from the same universe because it's so cool to see all the other characters appear in each other's stories. I'm going to show you guys how I do my book journal and like the sort of spread I do. So I'm currently reading Once Upon a Broken Heart. So I start off by just picking a color that's like similar to the cover of the book or something that matches the vibe. Because I like to handwrite everything instead of like writing a review on Goodreads. I kind of just write it in my journal. So yeah, I've pretty much done this with every book that I've read. Right now I'm going to do another journal spread. I'm going to make my summer TBR list. As you saw, I just did my summer TBR and I want to go through the books. I have quite a few books on here and honestly I'm probably only going to end up reading one. But the first book I have is This Summer Will Be Different. I want to read books with like summer beach vibes, and Carly Fortune I really liked Every Summer After, so I'm excited to read this, except I'm so annoyed that like the font is different. Like another book that was on my TBR by her was Meet Me at the Lake, and Every Summer After has this font as well, and I'm just like really annoyed that it doesn't match. But anyways, I'm excited to read this book. I've heard good things about it. My cousin has read it and she said it's a lot better than Meet Me at the Lake, so this one's probably at the top of my list. And then as you saw, the next one is Meet Me at the Lake. Shout out to Sam, she actually got me this book. It's so pretty. I've heard like bad reviews about this book, but I still want to give it a go since it's like summer vibes. The next book, I've had this on my list for like a year now and I keep saying I'm going to read it but I never do, and it's The Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy. This is like the second generation, so it's about Gigi, Hannah and Garrett's daughter. The next book that I have with me physically is Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. I really want to read this book. Like when I bought this book I was so excited because I was looking for it everywhere and it was sold out. So I'm so excited. The other two books I have on here that I don't have physically is Just for the Summer and Happy Place by Emily Henry. So I've never read anything by Emily Henry at all. I just don't know if I'd like her style of writing. I've never given it a go, so I want to read Happy Place, and then I also want to read Just for the Summer, just because it's like summer vibes. I actually don't have any idea what it's about, but I just put that on my list. Hey guys, so it's a couple days later and I went book shopping, so I'm going to show you guys what I got. Definitely did not need 3 books, but I'm actually saving money because I wanted these books anyways, and I was gonna buy them like in the future anyway, so technically I just saved myself money because I'm buying it now, so I don't have to buy it later. But I got the second book of the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. At the start of this video I brought that book and I've started reading it. I like it so far, so I just decided to buy the second book. My cousin said this one is her favorite, so I'm really excited to read this one. The next book I got was this series. I don't know what this series is called. I think it's called The Naturals or something, from Jennifer Lynn Barnes, the same author that wrote The Inheritance Games. So I've been having my eye on this series for a while now, since like last year when I saw it at Dimmicks. But I got the, I don't even know if this is the first book. It's either this one or the purple one that's the first book, but I only saw this one, so I just grabbed it. And then the last book I got, I wanted another thriller book, so I got The Locked Door. I have no idea what this is about. I was tossing between this one, The Teacher, or The Co-Worker by Frida McFadden, but I decided to go for this one. At the start of this video I was reading The Housemaid is Watching, and I said that it was boring and I didn't really like it, but I ended up finishing it. I rated it at 3.5 stars or 3 stars, I don't remember exactly. Honestly, I found this book really boring until like about like halfway, or like even more than halfway. It was just really boring. Basically this book takes place like 10 years or like 11 years after the first 2 books, The Housemaid and The Housemaid's Secret. It still follows the same characters, so it's about Millie and Enzo. Wait, is that his name, Enzo? I think that's his name. And they have 2 children now, and they moved out of the Bronx and they live in Long Island, but the house they just bought is like kind of sus and the neighbors are all weird. Basically like this much of the book is just about them living their lives and kind of introducing the subplots, and then I found it so boring up until like 3/4 of the book when like the crime started happening. Okay, I'm gonna give some spoilers here, but firstly I just feel like this book was really unnecessary, and I think she's actually coming out with like a 4th book or like a novella called The Housemaid's Wedding or something. I think I saw it on TikTok, but yeah, this book, like, it's so unnecessary. Honestly, if you've read the series, like, I don't really recommend this. I didn't like the ending, how they made the housemaid, I forgot her name, Martha? Yeah, how she ended up being like the killer as well. Like, are we all killers? First they made the kid a killer, and now another housemaid is a killer. I just felt like that was unnecessary. I swear in a lot of her books the kids are killers and psychopaths. The only good thing about this book was Cecilia, I think that's her name. Clearly I don't remember anything. As soon as I finish a book I just like forget everything. But Cecilia Winchester she was the daughter of Nina in the first book, if you've read the first book, and she comes back in this book. She's like a lot older now and she carried the book. Even though she was only in 2 scenes, she was like defending them and she was just the best. Didn't really enjoy this book. Probably the last book that I will read in this series if she ever comes out with more books with these characters. Also, one thing about her books is that the kids don't sound like kids. Like, even in The Inmate, the kid, I know they're like low-key psychopaths, but like this girl in this book was supposed to be 11 and she was speaking like she was 25. Over a month now and I DNF'd this book and I'm not going to read it. I've decided I'm not going to read this. Hey guys, so it's a few days later and I just finished The Locked Door. I finished it in about 3 days. It definitely wasn't my favorite thriller book by her, but I gave it a 3 stars. It was still a fun and super easy read. It just wasn't my favorite thriller book written by her. Okay, I just changed spots because I wanted to sit down, but I think I've read about 6 Frida McFadden books by now, and something I've noticed about her books is that all her female characters have like no personality. Like, they're all so smart but so stupid and dumb at the same time, and it really annoys me. The story is about Nora, who is a surgeon, and she is the daughter of a serial killer. So there's time jumps in this book from when she was like 9 years old to present, and then out of the blue some of her patients starts getting murdered and killed in the same way that her father used to kill people, so she becomes a suspect. No one knows that she's the daughter of the serial killer, and she's kind of trying to figure out who is framing her. There was a plot twist that I wasn't expecting, but it just wasn't as good as her other books. But still, if you're looking for a quick and easy read that is entertaining and kind of scary, you should read this book.